Hello and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'll do a sketchbook tour. This is a sketchbook I completed I think a few months ago, and this is from Clairefontaine. It's a small sketchbook. It's called Croc book. I think I picked it up from France from this lovely store called Rougier Replay. And so let's begin. I think I started this in December, 15th of December. Good, I wrote down the date. And I like doing sometimes these kind of illustrations, this style of illustrations. So I was kind of experimenting, and I've used color pencils. I think this is Holbein, if I remember correctly. Holbein, some tombow markers, and also Caran d'Ache New Color too, and I've used some water. The sketchbook is meant for dry media. It's not very good with wet media or a lot of water, but I've tried here and there. So, and I think the sketchbook costed about €2 if I'm not wrong, and so I know, good to give it a shot. Okay, so here I drew some cats on this page. I think I reference from Pixabay or I can't remember actually. Some references, and here I've done some eye drawing. I quite like this one. This is, I think, using tombow markers and some fine liner pens, or they're all tombow markers. I think the other end of tombow markers, the narrower end, which I hardly ever use. So next I drew some birds. I quite like this, the eagle. I think these are flamingo or swan. I can't remember. Anyway, so I should write down the name of the birds. And these are also with tombow and some pens, like fine liner pens. And I do like the eagle quite a bit. And this I was drawing, I was watching some Barbie collection videos. So there are these collectors of Barbie dolls who have collected like years and years of Barbies. So I was just watching that, and I was a bit inspired by that video. So I quite like this dress that I thought of. I don't know whether Barbie has this dress or not, but it's quite nice, I think. Like a red tulle or chiffon. Here I was trying to draw some wolves. I'm not very good with drawing animals. I draw mostly humans, faces more so than even human figures. So I was trying to draw some wolves here. And at that time I was quite happy with it, but now when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I like the composition here, the wolves howling at the moon. I used some reference photos, of course, but this is what I think I need to draw more wolves or animals in general. Okay, again, these are some portraits. So whenever I struggle with other kind of drawings, I come back to portraits. I'm more comfortable drawing human portraits. So this I've tried some. I don't think this matches the reference at all, but anyway. Okay, this is another one. So at one point I was into drawing roses, and with markers and water. So I was trying that, I think. These are with tombow markers, if I'm not wrong. Even all three are with tombow markers. And I'm drawing some bears. The bears definitely turned out better than the wolves. So I quite like this one. This is a polar bear. The next is, I don't know what was going on in my mind. I was trying to find the path of light or something, and then I kind of gave up, and this is the point of give up, I guess. I have a problem drawing the same character multiple times, intentionally. So there, obviously, we have the same face syndrome. When we draw something without any reference, it ends up being very similar, the face. But the problem is when you're actually intending to have the same face but from different angles, it's sometimes difficult to achieve that. Like if I've drawn this girl out of imagination and then she turns her head, it should be the same girl, and I was just trying to achieve that. Not sure if it's successful. Do you know? You, as the more you try, the more you get better at it. This is in gouache. The paper doesn't accept gouache very well. And this is the famous YouTuber I was watching at that point of time, and I drew her with her cute little dog. Mia Marples, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I quite like it. This is one of my favorite spreads of the sketchbook. I was trying to draw like long ago. Now, currently, we are thinking of going to Mars and stuff. We, as in some people on our planet, are thinking of going to Mars. And I was thinking maybe even the dinosaurs thought so. Like maybe we should move to Mars, and they were looking at Mars. And this, I think I used a reference photo of Mars from somewhere. Yeah, I quite like it. And maybe they were thinking that, but oh, too late. Okay, this is like random scribbles. It's fine, nothing to talk about. So here again I'm using reference photos to draw. This was fine, I think I was quite happy with it. Also with tombow markers. This is one of the faces with, you know, the light and dark clear division, and I was struggling with it a bit, and with the proportions too of the face. So I tried it twice, and then I tried it here, and here I like it much more. So I really like this light and dark contrast. Again, portraits using tombow markers, and these are like very dried out tombow markers, so I think when they are at a certain level of dryness, they're very nice to work with, because they're not like soaking the paper, and you can like still manipulate it a little bit. So I quite like that, you know, especially sketching and practicing, it's quite nice. So use your tombow markers till their last breath. This is again a portrait I was drawing with that blue, and I think you'll see it on Pinterest or something, like a lot of pictures like this, or on all photo websites, like reference photo websites, where you'll see that people with, you know, blue and red light or blue and pink light, like there's a combination. And I was trying to draw that kind of a portrait. However, I hated the feel of color pencils on this paper. I just do not like it. So I kind of, it was like taking layers upon layers upon layers, and I was like, okay, I don't have this much more of time to spend on this portrait on a sketchbook. So I gave up. Okay, I did the same style of that light and dark. Then this time I used tombow markers, which are much easier to work with on this sketchbook. Coming back to color pencils, I think I did this before. This is when? 28 December, the second. No, I did it later. But okay, this was fine because this is not that much blending. It's more like an illustrative style. So I was happy to have, you know, pencil marks separated and the paper showing through. I was okay with that. So this, I quite like it. I put up a shorts also for this. So another portrait with that light and dark separation, and I do quite like it. I was testing out different colors that I could use to depict the same. I've used a combination of both tombows here as well as some very regular random mole markers, you know, this blue and the orange. I think there's some random mole markers which I've continued using here to like just use it up fully and just before I throw too. So I quite like this one. I don't know, there's something very pleasant about it. This portrait, it's very colorful and interesting. I like it. This is again using those old markers, some reference. Then I came to this. I usually draw, as you have seen, you might have seen, I usually draw women more, mostly women, and hardly any men portraits. I was trying to do this one, and I struggling with the shape and the sketch itself, and then the shading of it. So I redo this. So I was trying the sketch again, this time with ballpoint pen, trying, then kind of gave up. It was not looking at all like the original portrait. And then I moved on to other faces. Sometimes you need to let go also. If you keep trying the same thing, it might be counterproductive at times. Try it a few times. If you are struggling with it, let go, do something else. Even non-art stuff. So I moved on to something else. And here I'm drawing that again, that light and dark portrait. I'm doing it using some old markers. This is in color pencils. Again, I think I struggled a lot with blending and covering up the white spaces, and then gave up. The paper is not super good for color pencils. It's good for sketching, good for markers, good for inking, pens and stuff like that. And doing regular drawings without being precious, because it's quite affordable. But with color pencils, it's I think a struggle. This one, so basically I was just looking out of my window, and some neighborhood building had this thing, an object on the veranda or the balcony, and I thought, what if it's like a cute character like this? So that's how this came about. And then I built on the character a little bit, and here it's kind of cute and sad, and has its own plant. I quite like it. So this I was using, I think, Sennelier oil pastel, and I quite like it, but then it's rubbed off. I think the paper is not super good for retaining pastel. I think some of it came on the other side. Yeah. I was drawing some cats with a almost dried out random marker. I was drawing cats with movement. I want to do more of these, where pick an animal and do their poses to understand their movements. Of course, with references. You can't imagine animals which you have no idea how to draw. This is a seahorse. I quite like it. It's also using dried out markers and maybe some color pencils, I guess. Yeah, some color pencils and some white gel pen on it. So, okay. I quite like this one. Though it looks, I think it looks a bit like Florence Pugh. I'm not sure, does it? But it's not her painting that I was doing. It was some other reference. And I think it looks a bit like her. No? Anyway. So, this too I quite like. It's also with tombow. This is also with tombow markers. And some... No, it's fully with tombow markers. I don't think I've used any fine liners. The other end of tombow markers. This is another portrait, and here is the male portrait back again, and here I was slightly better than my few attempts before, so I was happy about that. And that's how I finished the sketchbook. Here there's random swatches of color pencils and stuff and markers and stuff, and that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this sketchbook tour, and till next time, bye.